everybody. Welcome to a late version of Daily Distinction. Wanted to check in with you today. I typically do this at 2 o'clock Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific time, where I am here in Las Vegas, but was involved with something today and didn't get a chance to get on. So I thought I'd just hop on here for just a little bit at 3:45 here in Las Vegas, 6:45 back east, back home in Indiana. And hope everybody's doing great. Good to see you. Got an interesting topic I want to talk to you about for just a few minutes. Hello from the future. Yeah. Hey, Jason. Good to see you. Yeah. It's It's 8:45 there, or are you an hour back now that you're Gold Coast and not Sydney? I should know that, and I don't. I think it's 7:45 your time tomorrow morning. That's why. By the way, Jason's in Australia. That's why he's saying hello from the future, because it's tomorrow his time. So, Jason, if you could get me last night's lottery numbers, that would really be great. I'd appreciate that, and I'll split it with you if you can get that to me. Hey, Scott, good afternoon. Good to see you. So it is 8:45 there. So it's the same time as Sydney. I was doing so much work with Australia. I have Sydney on my watch, and the time there, it's plus 17 hours over there. So I hope everybody's doing great. I hope you've had a great day. And thank you for taking a moment to join me here, because we're going to be talking about the stages of customer engagement. And each stage presents its own unique set of challenges and opportunities and problems and things we need to know to be able to do all that we can to get more business. That's what it's all about. So here's the first one as we talk about the stages of customer engagement. The first stage is one that when we ask questions about this or talk about this, it's one that's often missed. The first stage of customer engagement is suspect. In other words, they're not even a prospect yet. They don't know if there's something that you have that they need. You don't know if they're qualified yet or not. They are just a suspect. So why would this be important if they don't know and you don't know? Well, it's because suspect is the place that we begin. And if you're not doing enough on social media, or if you're not doing enough in terms of your marketing efforts and your sales efforts and your outreach efforts, you can't move a suspect into the next level. So that's why, for example, in our iconic inner circle, we talk a lot about how do you connect and what do you do to make a difference. And so if you're not out there, whether it's blog posts or podcasts or live streams or whatever it might be that get people interested in what you do, then the suspect won't advance to the next stage. Once that person becomes aware of what you do and that they have a need that you might be able to fulfill, or you become aware of them and you go, oh gosh, that's somebody that we could help. That's somebody that we could serve. They move from being a suspect to a prospect. A prospect means that there is an opportunity for mutual attraction, that we got something they want, or they go, boy, there's somebody that has something that might be of interest. Does it mean that they're buyers yet? No, that's not what it means, but it means now there is the opportunity. It's important to be out there prospecting. Hey, Kevin, good to see you. Glad that you're here this evening. Curtis is in Kansas as he's going down the road. I appreciate you listening in, Curtis. Thank you for doing that. And Jerry, you got it exactly right. You got to turn the suspect into a prospect. So, when people talk about, oh, how much you're out there prospecting for new business, if you haven't created enough suspects, then your work in prospecting is going to be incredibly, incredibly difficult. Now, notice what we're talking about when you create distinction, when you become iconic, is suspects become more aware of you, which means you're going to convert more of them into prospects, and you create an attraction that becomes really profitable and really significant for your business. So some of these prospects, you're able to convert them either through what you do or your sales efforts or what you do online. All of that comes together, and they move from being a prospect to a first-time customer. They sample you. As you might know from some of the discussions we have here, I've done a lot of work and I'm doing a lot of work in the field of financial services with financial advisors. And one of the things that I talk to them about is when you move through this area, very seldom will somebody go, "Oh man, I love you as my financial advisor. Here's all my money." They don't do that. They move some of their money over. They sample. And whether it's a sophisticated thing like financial services or whether it's, selling a speech or selling widgets, whatever it might be, typically our customers don't go whole hog at the beginning. They put their toe in the water. They sample it. That's why the customer experience is so critical because your job is to turn that first time customer into a repeat customer. That's the lifeblood of business in so many ways, isn't it? I mean, for many of us, for a customer to come in and buy one time, it's not going to make us a profitable business. The real profitability in our business comes from customers that come back for more. They repeat their business, and many times the next time they come back, they don't just put their toe in the water. They're now up to the waist, right? I mean, they're jumping in the pool. They're a repeat customer. So now what do we do with a repeat customer? And that's part of the importance of the ultimate customer experience we talk about in the iconic inner circle and other things. It's why it's so important. But now what do we do with a repeat customer? We want to move them to the next level. And the next level is they become a client. Now, I realize that some industries, like my own in coaching and consulting and speaking, we tend to call the people who acquire our services our clients. Financial services is that way. I used that example earlier. Why is that? Because client implies a higher level of engagement, of personalization, of care and concern, of tailoring our products and services, right? One of the things, Jason, watching in Australia, one of the things that is an interesting conversation from Jason's former position with Volkswagen is, so many car dealerships treat buyers like customers, very transactional, when instead they should be treated like clients. So the dealership serves all of their needs because the chance is if the husband wants a car, then the wife or partner will need one as well, or the kids will need one, or whatever. You want to build that relationship. You want them to feel like a client even more than a customer. Got to build an enthused customer. Well, and we're getting to that, Jerry, because one of the things that we realize is that a lot of organizations we work with, or a lot of even individual sales professionals that we work with, stop there, right? Boy, once you've bought from me, and now you're coming back and buying more from me, and now we kind of got a client relationship. I've become a trusted advisor to you. That's as good as it gets. And no, it's not. You can't stop there because the highest level of customer engagement is when they become an advocate. And an advocate is that customer that tells everybody about how great you are. They tell their friends, they tell their colleagues that you are iconic, that you stand out in the marketplace. And that's where the 5 stages of iconic performance come into play, because that not only is the highest way to serve your customers and your team, but it's also the way that you turn clients into advocates. There was an article many years ago in Business Week, and one of the things that it talked about was the frustration that Dell Computer had with B2B sales. And the problem was that Apple was making inroads in sales to businesses. This is back several years ago. And the frustration that Dell had was not only because Apple was selling computers in an area that Dell had owned, right? They were cutting Dell's market share, making inroads into that. It's that Dell was spending literally millions and millions of dollars on a corporate sales force, going out and making calls on these businesses and trying to sell them, bunches of Dell computers. And Apple didn't even have a sales department for that at the time. It was that people were working on their Macs at home and they loved them so much they became the sales force. They became advocates so much that they forced pretty much IT departments to allow Macs into the corporate world. In other words, Apple saved 8, 9 figures on not having a sales force because their customers became advocates. What if your business had that kind of sales force? The kind of sales force that your customers did the selling job for you. And Jason, that's how you get there, right? Exactly right. You move them from the transaction to the experience, and that makes all the difference in the world. Jason and I are going to be talking more about that soon, by the way. I'll give you a little heads up there. Those new customers always be as good as the existing ones generally. Yeah, Kevin, when we do it right, you're exactly right. When we do it right, they become as good as the ones we got. And that's how business grows. The reason this is so important, and this is so basic, but it's one of those things we need to review, is that growth in business is the combination of acquisition and retention. So many businesses think, boy, if I can just get out there and get a bunch of new customers. Well, yeah, but if they're going out the back as quick as you can get them in the front, that's not growth. That's treading water. And it's really expensive to do that. What if you could close the gate at the back and bring new folks in? That's called growth. So we start with a suspect. And if you don't have enough of those, then you need to be thinking about, what do we do to get our name out there so that more people wonder about us, kind of know about us, so that we move them into being a prospect? Then what's the strategy it takes to move a prospect into buying something from us? And it doesn't matter where we're talking about, a B2B sale, a very sophisticated sale, or just a basic one. What's it take to move them into a first-time customer? Then from there, how do we have an experience, as Jason said, that we move them from transaction to experience, so now they come back and repeat their business? And then how do we intensify that so it becomes more personalized and they become a client? And then what we do at such a level that they are our advocate. They are telling other people that you got to do business with those guys. You know, Kevin, you make a great point, and it's so true. And I think it's part of, not all of by a long shot, but I think it's part of the crisis that many businesses are experiencing with employees and not having enough people to work. They got up and they made speeches about how employees are our greatest asset, and then they treated them like an expense. You know, assets are things you nurture and you cultivate and you help to grow. An expense is something that you try to manage and reduce. And I think a lot of businesses, it's not the only problem in that by a long shot, but I think a lot of businesses got caught up in, not looking at their employees as being internal customers and moving them through those steps as well. Jerry is exactly right. I am no longer an advocate for American Airlines. We're American Airlines doing what we do best, which evidently is making you mad. As somebody once wrote, American Airlines, we're not happy until you're not happy. At least that was my experience. By the way, if you want to read a great book on the employee and customer experience, Jason's book, it's all about CEX, customer and employee experience, is the best. It's the best thing out there. The employee experience is critical to delivering a consistently valued guest experience. Absolutely true. There you go. So, hey, by the way, I've got to make sure I mention, that's the reason we're here too, is to talk about the iconic Inner Circle. First month's on me. It's absolutely free. There's no risk. Just go sign up, give it a shot, see what you think. We've got programs there on how you craft and tell stories, which is an essential aspect of communication, how you conduct better virtual events. We have a program that takes you through the alignment of your values and your goals and your daily activities to create personal distinction. We got weekly distinction sessions for you. All that's there. It's when you become a part of the iconic Inner Circle. Join today. It's absolutely free. For the first month, it's on me. So give it a shot. No risk at all. And I know the folks that are part of it already are loving it. And I would love for you to be a part of that. You like that one, did you, Charles? American Airlines, we're not happy until you're not happy. That was certainly my experience on there. So, well, hey everybody, thank you so much for joining me late with the late version. And Charles, good to see you. I haven't seen you for a few days, so I'm really glad that you're here. Thank you for taking time to be a part of this. So, I'll catch up with everybody soon at the regular time again tomorrow, and we'll catch up with you at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 o'clock Eastern, right here on the next Daily Distinction. Have a great night, everybody. See you soon.